All right, so we're here with Ryan Harrison. Ryan, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. How are you, Benny?
I'm doing good. It's good to sit down with you. I've been looking forward to this interview for a while.
I've been nervous about it for a while.
I talked to you about it a while back, so we kind of had a little time to be nervous.
Yes, sir.
But this is not the hot seat, man. This is just a couple guys sitting back having a chat.
Cool.
And so people do know you, some people don't. And for the people that don't know you, so I'm going to ask some questions just about kind of get a little bit of that background, the old school background. Yeah, if you're fine with that.
I started playing music here about 9 years ago when I moved here.
You moved here to Junction 9 years ago?
Yes.
From
KeyWest, Florida.
Really?
Yeah.
Why did I think that you were from Michigan?
I am.
Okay, but you were in you lived in Key West?
Yes.
Oh man, that's a great community.
It was fun. A lot of cool blues, a lot of cool jazz. Fun place to be young.
I've been to Key West.
Yeah.
Yeah. They have a great diversity scene down there.
Definitely. Very much so.
I was down there for New Year's, and I don't know if you probably have been down. You probably know what I'm talking about, but where they dropped the high heel.
Right. I actually managed a restaurant right across the street from, I don't remember what it's called. But it was an LGBTQ friendly club, and instead of dropping a ball at the end of the night, they dropped a shoe.
It was a high heel with somebody dressed in it in drag.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was amazing. In fact, that's where the real New Year's party, because there wasn't down the street. They have kind of more of like the straight area, and then there's up the street.
There's a difference between the 200 block and the 900 block,
okay.
and that's what you're talking about.
Yeah. So the 900 block is the LGBTQ block.
Yeah.
That's the best place. That's where I spent.
That's
fun.
Fun.
Where I spent New Year's. It was nice. So I'm glad I got to share that experience. So where were you born?
Flint, Michigan.
Flint, Michigan. Brothers and sisters? You're an only kid?
Yeah.
Wow.
Still.
Interesting. Who would have thunk it?
Right?
What were you like as a teenager?
Rambunctious and fun, and I don't know, I did a lot of drugs, and I went to a lot of parties, and I played a lot of music, and
Yeah.
I'd never want to go back to my high school days, but to be fair, it was a blast.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people regret those days, and I don't. They were a lot of fun.
You seem like the type of kid that would probably go to the older kid parties. Find your way into the real fun parties.
All my friends, yeah. To be easy.
Leave it at that.
In Michigan was weird. I got a fake ID when I was really young, and it wasn't to drink, it was to attend shows.
Cool.
And I had a lot of fun. It was a blast.
Were you always into punk music, or did that evolve later?
So, all right, this is gonna be a story.
Cool.
I remember being 9 or 10 and asking for a rock and roll record for my birthday because I was raised on country and it was all I'd ever heard. Really, all I'd really ever listened to.
That's what your parents listened to? Right.
And I remember my grandma and my grandpa got me a 1953 Billboard's top 10 rock and roll hits.
Huh.
So that was my first rock and roll record. But then I discovered classic rock and fell in love with it. After that, it was metal, and
it's the doggies.
Sorry, my dogs.
That's okay.
And then after that, I wound up accidentally at a Warped Tour in 2000, and I was watching the Circle Jerks play a set with Keith Morris, and I had no clue how special it was or important it was. But some guy picked me up and shucked me like the 90-pound kid I was, and it was all over. Like, it was punk rock forever.
It was that after that, huh?
Yeah, complete elation.
Well, that's how that got into that. So you did when you were in Key West. Was there a musician? Were you a musician there, or were you working more?
I was definitely working more. That's where I learned how to play. That's when I moved away from the people that I played with when I was a kid, and I was like, if I want to keep doing this, I should probably learn how to play guitar, right?
Right.
So that's kind of where I honed it. I learned how to write compose my own songs there, and I honed it on some open mics.
So you went down to Key West, and then you started. That's when you first started composing music. But you were already in love with punk at that point, yeah.
I was already a songwriter at that point. I just wasn't a guitarist yet.
Okay.
I still don't like to call myself a guitarist.
Yeah.
Because I know some guitarists, and
well, I know you have.
I don't play like that.
I know about the Ryan Harrison acoustic experience. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Okay.
I want to know about that. So I think one of the things that's fascinating about you is how public you've been with some of the things that you've struggled with. One of the things is with your alcoholism. I remember there was a time during the time that I knew you that you were in the hospital. And that was pretty rough. And you were public about it. You know, you shared that experience. What was that like for you?
It was awful.
Was it just was it drinking too much, binging, or was it just your guts were just starting to say, hey?
If I try to detox without help when I was in as deep as I was at that point in time, if I don't have medical help, it's unsafe.
Wow. So is that what that was, to be there so that you could be monitored as you were getting clean, I guess, or I guess detoxing?
Or so I didn't have a heart attack,
Yeah.
or
wow, that's pretty
going to convulsions. Like, yeah. It sucks.
Because I remember it was around, I can't remember the dates or anything, but I remember I had seen you perform at Charlie Dwellington's, and you just killed that show. I don't know.
Thank you.
I don't know how
Appreciate
many times
that.
you
Thanks,
performed
Benny.
there, but Will took me to the show. In fact, in one of Will's just most recent interview, we kind of talked a little bit about that. And your bass player, is his name Sterling? Or is that just his name on Facebook?
Sterling was our original bass player with the NC-17s. Peter Rosenthal joined for the last year, so Sterling could focus on the quickies.
Because he started the quickies, didn't he? Or is that his kind of thing, or?
That's him and Scott Stevenson's project, and
Okay.
then that's their baby.
Right. Yeah, because I remember just walking in there. He was playing that bass so mean, I thought he was going to kick everybody's ass. I was like,
Hell
this
yeah,
guy.
man.
And then you were just like quintessential punk performance. It was beautiful. You jumped on the bass drum and you were just getting it. You're back to the crowd. It was awesome, dude.
Thank you.
It was
Thanks,
amazing.
man.
It was
I can tell you're genuine.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, dude,
I can tell you mean it. Thank you.
And at that moment, I was like, I told Will, I said, man, I gotta make that dude a BoOMPiece. And that's when I made you the razor blade 2-finger ring. Yeah. And I ran into it. It was funny because I wanted to do a ring for you, but I never really got a chance to talk to you.
Right.
And one day we were coming out of, it was in the middle of some show at Mesa Theater, and I was walking back to the car, and you just happened to be walking. Nobody was on the sidewalk. It was just me and you. And I pulled you. I said, hey, Ryan. Can I talk to you for a minute? I said, I know this is going to sound weird, dude, but I want to make you a ring. Let me look at your hand. You showed me your hand.
Let me look at your
hand. Do you remember that?
What size ring you wear, man? That's hilarious.
Oh, that was
How
awesome.
cool. I do remember that.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was a good time.
And thank you. I still have that ring. I should be wearing it. I'm not. I
That's all right.
apologize.
That's all right, man. That's all right. But, you know, Billy is, man.
Yeah, my whole
How did
heart.
you guys find each other?
It was weird. So Billy had this practice space, and it was in a warehouse on like South and 6th Street, you know, like all that way downtown. And they were doing a benefit show so they could like keep having practice space for 6 bands. And I showed up and played at Acoustic. Like, I was invited, like I didn't just come. And they were all busy. Like, I played last, and it was the end of the show, and nobody was paying attention because like the only people left were the people with like that had invested into having that warehouse as a practice space, and they were having a serious conversation. And I went over and like got off the stage and unplugged my guitar, and I went over and stood on top of the coffee table that they were all talking around, and like screamed a song at them. And like, and then I left.
They're just looking at you, like you're sitting
Yeah,
like you're in the middle of their conversation. You
Yes.
just jumped on the table,
Yes.
and just started getting it,
Yes.
and then you just left.
And somehow Billy found my phone number, and he called me the next day, and he was like, "Hey, I want to be in a band with you."
Oh, that's badass, dude. Oh, that's badass.
True story. I don't think I've told it.
Wow, that's cool. So it was you and him first, and then how'd you guys get Sterling?
So Ben, I truly believe, is still the heart and soul of that band. Truly, what made it unique. His blues guitars to punk rock was just really incredible.
So share with us
When Ben and Peter were in a band called Dirty Electric,
Okay.
they invited me to open for them one night, and I was like 4 days notice, and I haven't been on a stage in 3 years. Like, you gotta be kidding me.
Right.
But like, they weren't. So I did, and that's how Ryan Harrison Acoustic started. And me and Ben had kind of wrote a little bit together, and kind of always talked about playing rock and roll or punk rock together. So, you know, when Billy was on board, like, it just made sense for him to start playing music again. And
Ben is
Ben Walker, the our only guitarist,
Ben Walker.
originally in Dirty Electric.
Okay.
Like we had one member change in the NC-17s, and Peter Rosenthal took over Sterling Gray's spot.
Okay. So then, so Sterling went and really started to focus more on Truck Stop.
Well, Truck Stop was always his baby, and like, it sucked for everyone when he stepped away, because like, we worked really hard together, you know, like, and we made incredible things happen. But like, I remember the conversation, and he said, "Ryan, dude, it's a great band, but I don't want to play bass guitar in a punk rock band for a living." And I get it. Like, that's not what he's meant to do.
But he did it pretty badass though.
That he did.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Who took Sterling's place?
Peter.
That was Peter, right? And he was the guy that always had his shirt off, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I was like, man, that dude always has his shirt off. 'Cause I saw a couple of
And
his
if not,
shows.
he was wearing a V-neck like he meant it.
Yeah. All right, cool. Because I remember I saw you guys in another show in the front stage over at Mason Theater, and you jumped on the gate.
The metal wall thing.
I was like,
Yeah,
oh man,
the chain link fence.
dude, that was super punk. Dude.
I thought I
like,
was gonna get in trouble for
There was
that
a
one.
picture. There was pictures of you on that. I think you posted. Somebody posted it. I saw it. I was like, I wish I took that picture. That was great.
Cool.
That was cool. So you know, that's another thing too that I think has been pretty cool about you, is that how public you've been with like your addiction. You know, it's just very, very honest. And and another thing that you've been pretty public about too is like your advocacy for diversity and for helping people, or just really standing up to the bullies. And I remember there was like some Nazi chick that was just really just getting under everybody's skin on Facebook in our friend circle, and you guys just let her have it. And I don't know if she blocked everybody or what, but I don't know.
I don't remember that.
It was probably many. I was like, dang, they're letting that Nazi girl have it. But that was whenever all the
don't
stuff,
be a Nazi.
Yeah, right. And that's when all the I think like the pro-Trump stuff was going on, and all the division with the racial stuff, and
Sure.
And it was, I don't know. I think the punk scene here in Junction has been so dope is the fact that it's so diverse. But I just remember being at that show and that there's so many people of different colors, brown, white. There's black people out there just kicking it, man. It was just a punk show, and everybody was just having so much fun. And I was like, yo, this really, like, to me, I always felt kind of out because, you know, it's like, I didn't know that it was going to be so diverse. I thought punk was kind of like a white thing. Because I just grew up, you know, me growing up on Chicano, I never grew up around that. So when I saw that, I was like, yo, this is just the coolest. I don't know. I hope every punk community is like that. Is like this. The scene, the punk scene, is like that. So, what would you say about like the Junction punk scene that one of the things that you admire the most about it?
Oof. You know, when the unity exists, it's real, and people mean it. You know, and I think, you know, the 3-year run of the NC-17s are a prime example of that. I think Bronco Country is a prime example of that. Mm-hmm. I think when Deep Purple Rain was together, they were a prime example of that. And I think Barrel Proof was a prime example of that. To go back a little further, but the thing I've learned about punk rock in Grand Junction is if we don't try, it's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. And it's hard, and we get burnt out, and nobody's making no money, and that's not why we're doing it. But like, it's hard, especially the older you get.
Yeah. Do you feel as you get older that it's just harder to be physical? Because when you get down on a pretty physical at your shows.
Yes.
Do you find that it's the bones are a little more creaky?
I learned to stretch before shows, but I always did it away from people, so nobody be able to see me or catch me. You know, like
I can imagine you in the alley.
If there was no green room, I was in the alley, like.
Loosening up the joints. That's dope.
So
that's pretty cool.
But I don't know, man. Like, I don't think I'm ever gonna be too old to do this. Like, I can't help it.
Right. Well, you know, it's the adrenaline and the serotonin and all the feel-good drugs when you're up there that are just going through your brain. You know what I mean? Just naturally, when you're just up there getting it, whether you're intoxicated or not, you're getting. The crowd is just, and the energy of the music is getting you, especially with punk music. It's just so energetic. So, you know, if you would kind of share with us a little bit about the cancel culture and how that's kind of affected the NC-17s and your role based on, I don't really know exactly what was going on. I think people out there have a question like what happened, and some people only know like hearsay, or they heard from somebody that somebody else said something, that Ryan said something that might have been rubbed somebody the wrong way. And of course there's always, you know, things can be taken out of context. So like what was that about, and how did that transpire?
As far as that affected the NC-17s, I don't want to speak about it unless my bandmates are here.
Okay. That's fair.
My ex-bandmates, excuse me.
Yeah.
I said something stupid. And I guess there were dual meanings that weren't meant to sound stupid. But the bottom line is I screwed up, like real bad. Excuse me. It didn't just affect me, it affected literally everybody that I love. And, you know, like, I appreciate you recognizing my advocacy, but like, I screwed it all up. Like, and I did that on my own, and I gotta own it.
Yeah. Was it on Facebook?
It was.
Were you intoxicated?
It was 5 o'clock in the morning, and I was on 3 hits of acid.
Wow. Was it taken out of context? Because I don't know what was said.
I'm not going to say it. Yeah, pass.
All right, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. 3 hits of acid, 5 o'clock in the morning. That's not a good time to be on Facebook for anybody, right?
Sure isn't.
It's like those drunk texts, the drunk call your lady.
Like times 1,000.
Yeah. Hey, but I think we know you have a good heart, and we know you're real friends. Stood by you.
They did.
And I think maybe some people might have taken the distance, but I think in retrospect, looking back, it's like, everybody makes mistakes, and we're not defined by our mistakes, and we all have done shit we're not proud of. We all have those moments that are not our proudest moments, and anybody who looks at somebody else and can point the finger need to turn that finger on themselves and say, I don't think I'm in any position to be that way. So I really appreciate you addressing that. That's cool.
Thanks, man.
Moving on. What I want to know about is, are you with me?
Yeah, I'm here. I am present.
Let's talk about the Ryan Harrison Acoustic project that you've been working on, or that you're working on, or is it? Because I know it was kind of the aftermath of the band kind of going their separate ways, and then you kind of came from the ashes. I mean, resilience is a beautiful thing, and for you to come back with saying, you know what, I'm gonna stand on my feet, and I'm gonna do my thing, and I'm gonna continue to do music, regardless of whatever people are saying about me in the community. So what's the acoustic Ryan? What is it called?
It's called Ryan Harrison Acoustic.
All right, there you go, Ryan Harrison Acoustic.
So a few months ago, I realized that I was writing an album, and I really didn't while I was doing it, and I don't know if it was just me being locked up in here during COVID, or me trying to get sober, or I don't know, but like 9 songs in, I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And now it's like 9 songs after that, so I don't know if I'm gonna cut some of them. I don't know what I want to do, but there's a record. I just got to make it.
Where do you do your recording, or do you record your own stuff, or?
In Grand Junction, I've always gone through Taylor Riley at Fusion Audio Solutions, and he's incredible.
Yeah, I've heard that is he the one that has the really badass studio in his house?
Yes.
Oh yeah, good stuff. And is that where you're probably gonna be cutting your acoustic project?
Probably.
Yeah.
That'd be my guess. We've spoken already.
Does he produce and engineer? Or
He does. Yeah.
So he
Yeah.
does
You don't have to send your shit away to get masters or anything like that.
Wow,
He takes
cool.
care of everything, and he's incredibly reasonable, and he's really good at what he does.
Do you know any other area artists that have done music through him? If you don't want to drop names, that's fine. But.
Zoloft first and foremost.
Wow. And they got a huge. That's got to be a trick putting all that together.
I'm pretty sure Jack and Jill go through them, and they have an incredible studio in their home.
So
Unless you're paying for Denver or Salt Lake,
yeah.
go to Taylor.
Nice. So, kind of looking back on some of the things that we discussed, and just your life, from coming from Flint, and then your time in Florida or off the Keys, and then here and through everything. If you could go back in time, knowing everything you know now, and be with yourself, what advice would you give your younger self?
I don't know. Listen to more Black Sabbath. I'm really gonna have to answer this. I'd say slow down every once in a while. Because I run so fast. Not physically.
Anymore. I'm sure you did at one point. These dudes can run.
I don't know. Hate less, love more.
It's beautiful. Slow down. Hate less, love more. So what's next for Ryan Harrison, man?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you. No clue.
Well, you know the people at home probably would like to know about any possibilities of NC-17s doing something, getting back together, or starting anew, or something.
Billy moved to Maryland.
Did he? Oh, man.
And even if he moved back, I'd be shocked.
Is that me?
It would be nice to do a proper farewell show, but I really doubt that will ever happen.
So do you think that the name NC-17, that product is no longer going to be...
I haven't given up on those songs yet, because they shouldn't be given up upon.
Yeah.
But if I did them again, I don't know if I'd attach that name to it.
Yeah. Do something else. Those songs, but with a different... Would you be interested in being in another punk band again?
I'm contemplating the offers that I have right now.
Do you have some offers?
Yeah.
Because you're a great lead guy.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any punk band would be good to have you. All right, man. So if people want to know how to get a hold of some NC-17 music or some acoustic music that you've been doing, or any of your, you got any some social media or some links for some online or streaming?
I don't have Ryan Harrison acoustic music on the internet. I don't believe, and if I do, it's on Bandcamp, and it's probably a bad recording. If you want to check out the NC-17s, it's available everywhere music is sold. And like I said, those songs are good.
Okay, we're back. I'm talking about the cover.
Okay. So I had an artist back out at the last minute, a really talented one. I was bummed. And, pardon me. So I didn't know what to do, and then Notre got lit on fire. So I took like the most iconic picture that anybody shot and just stole it and made it the cover.
No copyright, nobody hit you up about it ever?
Dude, like if I'd ever gotten in trouble, it would have been Courtney Love suing me.
Tell them, what's that about?
I wrote a whole song about her and how she killed Kurt. and then I literally called it Courtney Love and put it on a record. Like,
what album is this at? This on?
That was the NC-17's debut EP.
And is it, we can find that on it's called Courtney Love.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna have to go find that, and you should go find it too. All right, Ryan. Hey, thanks for sitting with us and talking. And I know some of these questions were a little rough, but I think people at home got to get to know you a little bit and kind of know what angle you're coming from and the new things that you're working on and your history and the legacy that you're creating in this community and all the good things that you're doing through the punk scene and bringing people together. Even if you're not making a whole lot of money, it's the love, and that's really what punk's about, man.
Yes, sir.
And some Pabst. Every once in a while. All right, brothers.
Tall boy. Thank you so much for being here, dude. I really appreciate you.
Right on. Thanks, man.